symbol of ripe crop. Shuefeng. September 12010. The time for the harvest of crops will mark the end of this system. Angels will carry out the harvesting. Jesus. I am the angel to harvest the ripe crop. I will gather in the ripe crops and put them in the granary of the greatest creator. 1,000-year world, 10,000-year world, celestial island continent of the Elysium world. I will bring mankind to a new millennium, the era of life genuine. The so-called ripe crop refers to person with a perfect soul. The ripe crop that I will harvest has the following characteristics. Revere the greatest creator, revere life, revere nature, and follow the way of the greatest creator. Do not involve in marriage and family, do not involve in state, do not involve in political party, and do not involve in religion. Have no position, no property, no reputation, and no influence. Have no jealousy, complaint, and comparison. Have no selfishness, greed, and contention. Have no laziness, arrogance, and enmity. Have no anxiety, worry, and fear. Not self-opinionated, flexible and accommodating. Act in response to the will and follow the Tao. Be humble, kind, industrious, honest, faithful, unsophisticated, healthy, and civilized. Be good at games, like collective activities and collective life. Be outgoing and vivacious, and always remain happy and pleasant. Cling to celestial life rather than human life, to celestial relations rather than human relations. Follow the Tao of celestial beings rather than the Tao of man. Attach to the fairyland rather than the human world. Without the above 8 characteristics, the crop cannot be regarded as ripe crop. The unripe cannot be gathered in the granary, kingdom, of the greatest creator, and cannot enter the heavenly kingdom. I will lead the ripe crop to the heavenly kingdom, 1,000-year world, 10,000-year world, celestial island continent of the Elysium world. The unripe crops will enter the life genuine era to continue their growth and development. As for the others, they are none of my business and have nothing to do with me.
人间和千年界的情爱观对照
A contrast between the view of love in human world and the view of love in 1,000-year world. Xiefeng. April 28, 2007. Human world. I have affection for you, and you must also have affection for me. I love you, and you must also love me. The 1,000-year world. I have affection for you, but you need not have affection for me. I love you, but you need not love me. Human world. I have affection and love for you. You must be responsible for my affection and love. The 1,000-year world. I have affection and love for you. You need not be responsible for my affection and love. Human world. Lovers will be united in marriage and family. The 1,000-year world. Lovers need not be united in marriage and family. Human world. I love only you. The 1,000-year world. I love all people. Human world. I have affection only for you. The 1,000-year world. I have affection for all people. Human world. There are reasons and conditions for affection and love. The 1,000-year world. There are no reasons and conditions for affection and love. Human world. You can only love me. The 1,000-year world. You must love all people. Human world. Affection and love is selfish. The 1,000-year world. Affection and love is unselfish. Human world. The soul and attentive constant love is most respectable. The 1,000-year world. The soul and attentive constant love is most harmful to the collective and society. Human world. The couple who have affection and love for each other own each other. The 1,000-year world. The couple who have affection and love for each other do not own each other. Human world. The couple who have affection and love for each other keep company with each other all their life. The 1,000-year world. The couple who have affection and love for each other can part with each other anytime. Human world. One may worry that his or her love may be usurped by other people. The 1,000-year world. One need not have any worry about love. Human world. I will protect my affection and love. The 1,000-year world. I will release my affection and love. Human world. One must pay the cost for affection and love. The 1,000-year world. Affection and love is natural and one need not pay any cost. Human world. My affection and love belong to you, and your affection and love belong to me. The 1,000-year world. There is no affection and love that belongs exclusively to anyone. Human world. Without your affection and love, I will be overwhelmed with sorrow. The 1,000-year world. Everyone has affection and love, and no one will be overwhelmed with sorrow because of affection and love. Human world. There is jealousy and resentment involved in affection and love. The 1,000-year world. One will only experience joy and pleasure in affection and love and will not feel jealousy and resentment. Human world. I feel unhappy to see your affection and love for others. The 1,000-year world. I feel happy to see your affection and love for others. Human world. Affection and love is restricted by morals and customs. Otherwise, it constitutes the abuse of affection and love. The 1,000-year world. Affection and love is itself moral. There is no problem of abuse of affection and love. Human world. Affection and love is something to be pursued. The 1,000-year world. Affection and love is the precious gift endowed by the greatest creator and is the nature of origin. Human world. Affection and love is the greatest obstacle to achieve the spiritual state of celestials and Buddha. The 1,000-year world. Lack of affection and love is the greatest obstacle to achieve the spiritual state of celestials and Buddha. Human world. Secular affection and love is the principal factor to maintain the harmony and stability of society. The 1,000-year world. Secular affection and love is the principal factor that contributes to the plight and afflictions of man and human society.
情爱中毒
The intoxication of love. 睡疯 June 29, 2010. Affection and love are the precious gifts bestowed to the humankind by the greatest creator. Like salt in dishes, affection and love can make the food delicious and delectable. However, what will happen if we take mouthfuls of salt or mix a lot of salt in the dishes? It is just terrible. There is no real poison in the world. Everything can be poison if the proper amount is exceeded. Heroin, arsenic, opium, morphine, marijuana, Dolantin, coca, cocaine, ice, ketamine, and ecstasy are all useful things if taken in an extremely small amount. Once the proper amount is exceeded, they are poisons. Oxygen is very good thing, right? But you may poisoned if you take high concentration, high flow, and high pressure of oxygen for an exceeded amount of time. Appropriate amount of wine can help regulate the circulation of blood, but we will be poisoned by alcohol if we take too much wine. We drink water every day, but we may be poisoned if we drink more water than kidney can handle. A proper amount of bee venom is beneficial to our health, but excessive dosage of it will kill us. Money is a very good thing, but if we are blinded by lust for money, money may prove the most lethal poison. Appropriate amount of desire is also a good thing, but it may prove to be a deadly poison if we are consumed by boundless avarice. Affection and love is a very good thing, but once we are blinded by it, affection and love will be the poison of life. In the proper amount, everything will be useful, but once the proper amount is exceeded, anything can be a poison. What kinds of affection and love are poisons of love? The affection and love between wife and husband is the poison of life. The affection and love between lovers is poison of life. The steadfast affection and love is poison of life. The fully devoted affection and love is poison of life. The hysterical affection and love is the poison of life. The intoxicating affections and love is the poison of life. The affection and love that makes it difficult for you to sleep and have any appetite is the poison of life. The affection and love with a solemn pledge is the poison of life. The affection and love that require a life of commitment is the poison of life. The above poisons of affection and love are all a result of excessive dosage. If you are emaciated for affection and love, if you are lost in a trance, if you become listless because of love, or if you die for love, you are poisoned by love, which is no different from the poisoning of heroin. People, take care, be on guard against the love poisoning. The best way to prevent love poisoning is to learn from celestial beings in the thousand-year world.
百年惨烈地震与耶稣警示。
A century's dreadful earthquakes and Jesus' revelation. Shuefeng. January 19, 2010. Jesus the Christ's revelation said, "And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in divers places. All these are the beginning of sorrows." Historically, human beings had never experienced such frequent earthquakes in the history. Please look at the following cataclysmic earthquakes all over the world. On December 28, 1908, the earthquake in Messina, Italy took more than 80,000 lives. On December 16, 1920, about 200,000 people were killed in the earthquake in Haiyuan, China. On September 1, 1923, in Japan, it was estimated that about 143,000 deaths in the Great Kanto earthquake. On October 5, 1948, in Turkmenistan, the Ashgabat earthquake took 110,000 lives. On May 31, 1970, the earthquake in Ancash, Peru killed about 70,000 people and 800,000 became homeless. In 1976, the death toll in the Great Tangshan earthquake in China was about 250,000. On December 26, 2004, Indian Ocean earthquake triggered a series of devastating tsunamis, and 227,898 people were killed according to official announcement. On October 8, 2005, about 79,000 were killed in the Pakistan Kashmir earthquake. On May 12, 2008, in China, the Sichuan earthquake killed 69,225 people and 17,923 were missing. On January 13, 2010, a strong earthquake struck Haiti, killing about 300,000 people. What do these frequent earthquakes mean? It means the beginning of circles of sorrows. Human beings are on the point of experiencing a period of unusual difficulties. Great tribulation is coming. Jesus told us, "For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time. No, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved." But for the elects refers to the Chanyuan celestials on Book of Life noted by Dayform Buddha, sake those days shall be shortened. For as the lightning comes out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect, refers to the Chanyuan celestials on Book of Life noted by Dayform Buddha, from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. The Life-Genuine era will start then. We must be alert and keep watch because we are at a turning point in human history. Believe it or not, it's up to you.
不要把希望寄托在人身上。
Do not lay your hopes on a person. Xiefeng. July 9th, 2012. Translated by Tong Xin and edited by Care. Human beings are absolutely unreliable. However trustworthy a person seems, they will eventually die. So how can he or she be reliable? Can parents be reliable? They cannot even master their own fates to be alive or dead the next day. So how can they be relied upon? Can husbands and wives be reliable? Not mentioning the changes of faith and love, even if their love remains strong and consistent, once there is any unexpected misfortune, where will the person that you want to rely on be? Can sons and daughters be reliable? There have been many concerned parents since very ancient times. But where is the child who is filial? Chinese proverb. Can lovers be reliable? Someone once said, "I will surely be responsible for her." This is total nonsense. You do not even know whether you will be alive or not on the next day. So how can you be responsible for her? Can you guarantee her happiness and blessings for her whole life? You cannot even guarantee your own happiness and blessings in your life. So how can you guarantee other people's happiness? Can brothers and sisters be reliable? Can friends, superiors, and subordinates be reliable? Even Chairman Mao is not reliable, not mentioning any other people. Am I, Xiefeng, reliable? No. We have today's homeland only because we are walking on the way of the greatest creator. This is a blessing from the greatest creator, the result of Tao's operation, not because Xiefeng has any special abilities or talents. Question. Then who can be relied upon? Answer. Only the greatest creator and walking the way of the greatest creator. As a person works and behaves by following the will of and the way of the greatest creator, that is the best policy.
人类新生活模式样板已经建成。
The new life mode of human being has come into being. Shuifeng. August 23rd, 2012. The ideal life mode once dreamed of by many saints, as what the ancient Greek philosopher Plato wrote in his dialogue The Republic, the one world Confucius was after, and the communist society Karl Marx pursued, has been practiced and realized now on Earth. This new life mode is beyond what Plato, Confucius, and Karl Marx and other saints had imagined and described. It was born in a completely new way, and this brand new life mode is just the idyllic the second home founded by Life-Genuine. The life mode of the second home is totally different from the traditional life mode we are familiar with. Many saints' dream has completely come true. People live in a worry-free environment where troubles, bitterness, anxiety, desperation, and fear are reduced to the minimum, and so are conflict, fight, and crimes. An all-around harmonious and sustainable coexistence between man and nature, man and society, man and man is realized. Our 3.5 years practice and experiences have fully proved that this new life mode is more than just successful. It will be developing continuously and healthily and have an extremely bright future. We have now total 180 residents living in our community, which includes 13 kids. The age of the oldest resident is 87 while the youngest is only 3. 180 people live in 3 branches separately. The biggest branch has 72 residents, and the smallest has 45 people. Most people are from rural areas of China. The education level of majority is middle school. More than half of the residents are female. Middle-aged are the majority, and the average age in the community is around 40. The second home implements a paradise management mode. The gist of the mode is that no management is the best management. This mode stimulates and motivates the qualities of sincerity, kindness, beauty, love, faithfulness, and honesty in human nature, and creating a proper external atmosphere to bring those qualities in full play. There is no management team or leaders. People do their work voluntarily. There isn't any office. No other meeting or gathering are held except Monday. Wednesday nights are the time for group study, and Friday night is the time for everyone to gather to discuss and solve any issue that may arise in day-to-day lives. Everyone here is first and foremost an ordinary worker. There used to be a branch manager to organize the running of the branch, and now this role has been canceled. Each branch only has a senior, whose role is neither manager or leader, but just a coordinator to arrange and coordinate branch's daily activities. There is no more traditional family in the second home. Husband and wife relationship pattern is broken automatically when the couple start living in the community and they become independent of each other. The nurture and education of kids, the care of the senior residents will be the pure responsibility of the community, which means that children are no more responsible for the well-being of their parents and vice versa. All the jobs in the second home are professionalized and specialized, big or small. There will one person in charge. The chef only does cooking. The washer only does the laundry, the cleaner only does cleaning, the gardener only does gardening, and chicken raiser only cares chicken, vegetable growers only grow veggies, and the one who cultivate economic crop just focus on making sure the crop grow well, builders only do the building and maintenance work. The purchaser, driver, hairdresser, healthcarer, and tailor will be doing other jobs when they finish the main task. Homeschool teacher is a part-time job, so teachers are involved in manual labor when they are free. The main income of the second home comes from the donation of Chanyuan Celestials. We grow a variety of vegetables ourselves. Now the supply can meet the demand of 180 residents. Every day we can get altogether about 300 chicken and duck eggs from 3 branches, which ensure that everybody could have at least 1 egg each day. The meals are mainly veggies, but we do have meat occasionally. This year we have started the business of growing monk fruits, and now we have total 10,000 monk fruit trees under management. If everything goes well, a yearly 1,000 RMB net profit can be expected. The officers from Public Security Department of Yunnan Province, China, where the community is located, once said after visiting our community, "What you have done is too ideal, and we doubt how you people can keep and develop this life mode. But I'm very sure that the economic development of the second home will not have any problem, and we can definitely become self-sufficient and eventually live in abundance. The reality will prove it after 3 years." In the 3 years' time since the second home was founded, our community never had any form of attrition and conflict tie-on with our neighbors. Actually, we keep a very friendly relationship with the neighbors. Internally, the community residents never had any quarrel, argument, abuse, or fight, and everyone get well along with other people. Also, violations of the law and crimes are not seen here at all. Gambling, drug taking, prostitution, and stealing have totally disappeared. The environment of 3 branches has become very idyllic. All branches are surrounded by green mountains and clean streams. Luxuriant plants and trees are everywhere. We have a variety of fruit trees, especially pear, bayberry, peach, and chestnut trees, which produce fruits more than our residents could consume. Over 70 different kinds of flowers are blossoming in all seasons. Our home is clean and tidy everywhere, especially the kitchen, dining room, and public toilets. You can hardly see any stain. The crisscrossed brick or cement walkways in the orchards extend in all directions. In our 4th branch, brooks babbling can be heard everywhere, and the Crystal Mountain spring flows through the front of everyone's bedroom and the vegetable garden. Rooms of all branches are managed according to hotel standard. All rooms are equipped with a wooden bed, a desk, a chair, and a wardrobe. Each of the bedrooms later built by ourselves has a spacious bathroom and a closet. All rooms have 2 windows which allow enough sunlight and fresh air to come in. We also built an entertainment hall which can hold 300 people and a 5-star level dining hall which can seat 150 people. Except that a few kids are still live together in one big room. Other people all have a separate bedroom. The ideal of no one pockets anything found on the road, doors are not bolted at night, has been completely realized in the second home. There never be any stealing case in 3 years. Nobody ever lost anything, and people can keep their door open at daytime and leave the door unlocked at night. Breaking into other people's bedroom without permission at night is rarely heard. The meal standard in our community is above worldwide average. The main course is usually rice, steamed bread, steamed stuffed bun, twisted roll, noodle, Chinese dumpling, and spring onion pancake. The vegetables include cabbage, Chinese cabbage, carrot, eggplant, cucumber, capsicum, tomato, potato, cauliflower, chives, celery, string beans, and melons. The meal is usually served in buffet style. Everybody can take what they need, and the food supply is always enough to feed all. All residents own nothing but have everything. All properties belong to everyone. Individual no more own any property or money. No one is treated specially. All people go to the dining room for food. The storeroom is open for everyone to take what they need for daily life. There is no distribution and supervision. Clothing can be purchased on demand. The basic policy is as long as the goods is not luxurious and wasteful, it will be definitely purchased to meet the need of requester. Currency is no more useful inside the community, and money transaction also disappeared between people. The second home basically does not have any celebration activity except the Mid-Autumn Festival and Chinese New Year. We don't celebrate birthday too. Gifting between people is not allowed. The second home try to prevent any religious ceremony and political activity. We don't have church, temple, mosque, preaching hall, meditation room and office. We don't have any form of worshiping, for example, burning incense and bowing to an idol. Therefore, we don't hang up the image of any saint, master, and Buddha. Everything comes from nature and should be returned to nature. So artificial stuff is unwanted in our home. Moreover, everyone is independent of others, and no one should impose his will upon other people. The cultural and recreational activities in our community is full of variety. In addition to the monthly big party, we play games and have entertainment anywhere when we feel like to. Game ideas are so many and varied that we always have new and exciting one to play. Singing, dancing, and poetry recitation are the main theme of entertainment. All residents can participate in these activities so that their talents and skills can be displayed and developed. Our home is short of musical talents now, but we prepare to buy some instruments so that we can enjoy the beautiful music of flute, piano, Chinese pipa, and trumpet all round our home in future. We don't have a reading room and only have small volume of books right now, so we plan to set up a library in each branch, and most books will be related to philosophy and natural science. The second home has a home school for 13 kids study purpose, and their level is now at 4th, 5th, and 6th grade of primary school. We have classroom, study desk, blackboard, and a big playground. The educational materials are the same as what people use in public schools, which meet the requirement of the Chinese Department of Education. The teachers are chosen from residents who are either used to be a professional teacher or have completed tertiary education. In addition to the basic subjects, we also added the subjects of how to behave as a competent and useful man and the relationship between human being and the greatest creator, God. Kids are also required to do some manual labor according to each one's ability, for example, cleaning bedroom and yard, pulling weeds. English language is also a major subject in primary school education. Each does his best according to his ability and asks for what he need is a key policy in our home. Anyone, even if he is 800 years old, as long as he is still fit, should assume a job according to his ability. Therefore, there is no such saying as retired in our home. Nobody is an idle and parasite. Everyone has something to do. In fact, working has become the most basic and enjoyable daily activity for everyone. It almost turned to a form of game. People feel like they are punished if they are not allowed to work. In the second home, if someone has be stopped. Today, work shall be reserved for women. 7. Men are not permitted to humiliate, desecrate, abuse, beat, maltreat, persecute, scorn, and deride women. 8. Men are not permitted to limit women's freedom of person, spirit, and soul in the name of love. This idea is debatable around the broad masses. Anyone who disagrees to it can put forward solid evidences and theories. Only a simple expression of complaint is not enough. January 10th, 2011.
人类遏制气候恶化的唯一途径。
The only way to restrain climate deterioration. Xiefeng. November 19th, 2018. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. Can the Kyoto Protocol or the Paris Agreement restrain climatic deterioration? It is an unrealistic and completely impossible joke to think so. And those projects to restrain global warming from some countries are even less possible. The core factor in climatic degradation is not carbon emissions and the pollution of land, air, and water, nor is it a matter of cattle and sheep digesting and producing methane gas, but rather, it is one of the human soul. Your state of consciousness determines your living environment, and the overall reality is a projection of humanity's consciousness. Without changes of human consciousness and the purification of people's souls, it will be absolutely impossible to reverse the deterioration of our climate and our environment. This is an issue that can be resolved very easily. So what data analyses, computer simulations, and dedicated researches are needed? Will it be necessary for the United Nations to organize international conferences and meetings to discuss and formulate programs repeatedly? Our environmental problem is one of people's souls, and the first thing necessary is to reverse and to purify them, but this cannot be accomplished by the UN or by any state or states, but only by everyone involving and purifying their own souls individually. This purification of human souls must be carried out from theoretical directions and with new orders of construction, both at the same time. As for theoretical guidance, I have offered a plan to prepare everyone, but they need to learn from me and abide by me. The order of construction is to replace the traditional production and life modes of society with a new one according to the model of the new oasis for life as created by Life Genuine. This is the only way to reverse the deterioration of our environment. Honestly, though, it is too late to take action even if society were to begin immediately. I have shouted and appealed for at least the last decade, but instead of listening, most have wrecked the theories and practical demonstrations of Life Genuine. What can be done now is not to restrain climatic and environmental degradation, but to save a small group of people as seeds for human continuation, or extinction will be our destiny. The crisis is here and now. If people still remain completely indifferent, then disasters such as the fires near Paradise Town in California, USA will recur frequently. Remember, no place in the world is safe. Where there are no fires, rivers might flood. Where there are no droughts, violent storms might blow. Where there are no earthquakes, volcanoes might erupt. And where there are no plagues, intensely hot summers or bitterly cold winters might become normal. This does not even address the eventualities of massive theft, murders, and wars. In short, there is no way to escape from these disasters. Those who want to live must follow my guidance. I am the messenger of the greatest creator, the incarnation of God, Buddha, celestials, sages, and saints, and the greatest spiritual guide of our time. Please do not hoard what you possess, but dedicate your wealth so that we can build our new mode of production and life on Earth as soon as possible. Do not be short-sighted and accuse me of wanting to accumulate wealth by taking yours. I want nothing from you, but you need to use your wealth to save yourself. I hope that the UN will cooperate with us. There are many places on Earth which are disputed between nations and tribes, but can be administered by them. So let us build new modes of production and life in these disputed places as soon as possible so that we can have kindling materials for the continuation of our species. It will not matter if people continue to turn deaf ears and use their small minds to deny my warnings and assumptions because they will learn the truth, but it will be too late by then. Have foresight and take action now. November 19th, 2018.
共产主义在这里已全面实现。
Communism has been fully realized here. Xiefeng. The pursuit of an ideal society has been an everlasting ideological subject for sages and saints of mankind. The establishment of an ideal society has always been a direction and goal aspired by great politicians. Mankind has never stopped its exploration and pursuit of an ideal society, from the ideal of great harmony practiced by China's sage Confucius to the ideal of republic advocated by ancient Greek philosopher Plato, to utopia proposed by Thomas More of England, to utopian socialism of Saint Simon and Fourier, to communism founded by Marx in Germany. There have been various attempts to establish an ideal society, from New Harmony Village created in Indiana of America by Robert Owen of England, to collective farms launched by Stalin of Russia, to People's Commune established by Mao Zedong in China, to Mountain Shore Village in Japan, and to kibbutz in Israel. Actually, Kingdom of God, described by Jesus Christ in the Bible, the Elysium world mentioned by Buddha in Buddhist Sutra, the Society of Harmony portrayed by Lao Tzu and Tao Te Ching are all ideal societies. Now we can say that one common goal, namely the highest ideal of life mankind can achieve, has been described and pursued by great harmony, republic, utopia, ideal land, harmonious society, communism, the kingdom of God, and the Elysium world. The highest ideal society pursued by mankind must have the following 18 characteristics. Public ownership is the prevailing way under Tao. There is no private ownership, all properties are shared. There is no marriage, no family, no political party, no religion, no state, no organization of any form. There is no currency. The talented are put to good use, and the whole world will be one family. No one will pocket anything found on the road, and doors will not be bolted at night. From each according to his ability, to each according to his need. Recommend and assign the talented to important tasks, advocate good faith and harmony. The old are taken care of, the strong are put to good use, and the widowed, orphaned, sick, and handicapped are well provided. All members have meals at public dining halls. Normally, the work hours will be limited within 6 hours per day. Rich and plentiful material wealth without extravagance and waste. Extremely harmonious social relations and high spiritual realm. Rich and colorful cultural entertainment and games. Everyone develops freely in an all-round manner. Everyone brings his or her talent into full play. All things are put to good use. Everyone has a joyful, happy, free, and blessed life. Everyone is in the service of the others, and no one owes anyone anything. The environment is clean, tidy, elegant, and serene, like an earthly paradise. It can be said that the above 18 conditions have been basically realized in the life of the second home created by Life-Echanuan. In another word, communism has been fully implemented in the second home, or it may be said, the kingdom of the greatest creator has descended upon the earth. As the founder of communism Marx has said, without belief in God, the greatest creator, and without identity with Christ, mankind cannot possess truly perfect virtue to pursue truth and light. Only God, the greatest creator, can save us. The facts have proved this to be true. The complete realization of mankind's ideal society in the sea and home of Life-Echanuan is the very fruit of our reverence for the greatest creator and our observance of the way of the greatest creator. Of course, we have another secret. That is, we have imitated and copied the life and production model of the 1,000-year world of the heavenly kingdom. Today, I hereby proclaim to the whole mankind, communism has been realized in the second home, and the kingdom of the greatest creator has descended upon the earth. August 24, 2011.
人类错失了一次良机。
Humanity has missed a great chance. Xiefeng. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. If you have been keeping up with global climate change and the dynamics of our political state, you must feel that the crisis is getting worse and worse. Tomorrow or death. It is sometimes difficult to predict which will come first as you retire for the evening. On October 18th of this year, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, of the United Nations released a report in Incheon, South Korea, IPCC global warming of 1.5 degrees Celsius, which says that global warming must not be allowed to exceed 1.5 degrees Celsius or mankind will succumb to an extremely pitiful doomsday by the year 2040. Can we keep global warming under 1.5 degrees Celsius? It is out of control, a dream. 2040 is only 22 years away. Attention, please. If the end comes in 22 years, then for many people, next year, or perhaps even tomorrow will be the end of their time, and they might not even see tomorrow's sunrise. This is not a bluff or prophecy from some historical prophets or the ravings of spirits and deities about fortunes and disasters, but the conclusion drawn by experts from more than 40 countries who have accumulated more than 6,000 pieces of data. In fact, I personally warned people clearly in early April 2009 that the so-called apocalypse of 2012 would not happen but would be replaced in a gradual, reciprocating, and increasingly serious way. Almost a decade has passed, so let us find out how precisely the climate changes over the last decade have conformed to my predictions. In addition, at the end of 2017, I warned humanity once again that from 2018 on, the Earth would enter a new era and that dramatic changes would take place during the first 3 decades. You can look back at the climate changes of 2018. Can you sense the smell of the coming storm? From now on, the changes will get worse and worse until the extremely pitiful doomsday happens. Actually, if people had followed my guidance 10 years ago, then they would have avoided their current suffering, but they missed their great chance. How do I know all this? Because I am the messenger of the greatest creator, the incarnation of the God, Buddha, celestial beings, and saints. It does not matter if you think that I am bluffing and that my purpose is to deceive you and gain money or carnal pleasure. That is your right and freedom. However, people with spirituality know the truth, and it is not hard for rational people to understand what I have said and written for more than the last decade and draw their own conclusions. Now, it is unnecessary to repeat what I warned of in the past. All epoch-making theories and practices are relegated to history. If I had merely pointed out the problem but had not offered any solution to it, then I would be unworthy of the title of messenger and incarnation. The problem is that I showed the way to solve the crisis and even created a model, but if people either did not believe me or simply ignored me, then it is not my problem, but theirs. It can be said that the greatest creator, through his messengers, has warned mankind and shown them the way forward. Gods, Buddha, celestial beings, and saints through their incarnations have done their best, and no matter how humanity will suffer, no one can blame them for neither helping you nor saving you. The United Nations has met many times to formulate plans and appeals to try to solve the problem of climate change. The most famous of those was the Paris Agreement. As I said in my article, all the efforts of the UN could not accomplish enough. This is because the root of climate change lies in mankind's traditional production and life mode. In order to stop climate change, we must change that production and life mode. Any other measures and methods are futile. Of course, the final end can be delayed for several years, but it cannot solve the root problem. So how do we change the traditional production and life mode of mankind? With my guidance, angel-like Chanyun celestials have established a model for humanity, the new oasis of life, formerly the second home model. From this model, we have a wealth of written reports, pictures, illustrations, and video presentations. In this regard, however, the United Nations, governments of major countries, experts and scholars, and billions of myopic people have been completely indifferent. So, if 2040 becomes the extremely pitiful doomsday, can we not say that mankind deserves it? Is mankind not beyond redemption? It is too late to reverse climate change now, regardless of what efforts are made. However, mankind will not die out. People will still multiply on the earth, and within another 40 years, they will usher in a brilliant era and live happier lives than have never existed before. Unfortunately, though, not many people who are alive today will survive to officials, the wealthy, or celebrities. Anything that charges you money to teach you to become a Buddha, a celestial being, or a saint. Anything that allows you to take advantage of others. anything that is mysterious or spooky, anything that is sneaky or furtive, any teaching of gong or magical arts other than productive skills. 99% of those who preach to you in the name of the greatest creator, God, Buddha, celestial beings, and saints. There are 9 more insights for you to think about. From Buddhism, read only the Diamond Sutra. Do not learn from, listen to, or read anything else. From Christendom, read only the 4 major Gospels. Do not learn from, listen to, or read any of the others. From Taoism, read only the Tao Te Ching. Do not learn from, listen to, or read anything else. From traditional knowledge, learn from the familial precepts of Master Zhu and Zhenguang Xianwen and read Hong Yingming's Kejianten. For other Confucian schools, such as disciple rules and so on, do not learn from, listen to, or read them, because the more that you do, the more trapped you will become in their circle of poverty. Rather than listening to people's moral preachings, it is better to read respected scientific articles quietly. Rather than listening to intellectual snobs talking, it is better to study what they have done and what they are doing. Do not place your hopes on any savior. The second coming Jesus, the Chakravartin king, Maitreya Buddha, or the coming of the Ziwei saint. Do not risk your good life on the appearance of any seemingly wise moral leader. Your happiness and future depend upon yourself. Do not expect anyone else to save you. It is good if others do not cheat you, but only your good character and good deeds can save you. Do not look for ways to solve new, current problems from traditions. Those who have played chess or mahjong know that every game is different and that there are no fixed rules. The results of reviving traditional cultures can only lead to rigid thinking. There are 8 more considerations for reference. Never indulge in recreational drugs. Never participate in gambling. Never invest in stocks or participate in so-called financial investments. Never despise your parents, children, husband or wife, or brothers and sisters. Never participate in fighting gangs. Never join any organizations. Neither a borrower nor a lender be William Shakespeare. Do not hurt others or violate the laws of your country. The above are just a little bit of my understanding and experiences after I, an ordinary poor person, have risen from poverty to freedom. They are very simple and only serve as lessons and references. You need not argue with me. If you believe what I said, then refer to it. If you do not, then do what you think is right. I have an even higher path for any poor people who believe that what I have written above makes sense.
中国人当明白的一个浅显道理。
A simple truth that the Chinese should understand. Life Chanuan Xiefeng. October 26, 2021. Translated by Qinyu and edited by Peter. The simple truth to understand is that the United States is not China's enemy, but China's benefactor. Did China defeat the Japanese invaders? No. If the United States had not dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan, and if the United States had not dispatched 50,000 sorties of bombers to almost totally destroy 98 cities in Japan, killing and injuring more than 800,000 Japanese, Japan would not have surrendered unconditionally. China might have been occupied by Japan for a long time, and the Chinese would have long since become slaves of their subjugation. To say that China defeated the Japanese aggressors is just the obsession of the Chinese people. This is the case. Don't we think that the United States is China's benefactor? Do not think that the Japanese cannot occupy China. Back then, the northern nomads defeated China, which surpassed them numerically dozens of times, with a small number of troops. There are many examples of China being defeated. In the Yuan and Qing dynasties, the Chinese were almost all controlled by the northern minorities. Do not be mad when you are mentioned as slaves. Today, to the descendants of Qi, Chu, Yin, Han, Zhao, Wei, and Xixia, where's your country now? Aren't all of you just subjugated slaves who feel very proud? Speaking of slaves and subjugation, I will ask the common people in the world, are you willing to be conquered by a civilization? Or is it better to be ruled by tyrants big and small? For example, in today's Afghanistan, for ordinary people, is it better to become a slave in subjugation managed by the United States or ruled by the native Taliban? People all over the world should remember that when your country is conquered, it is just a change of the people who rule you, and the sun and the moon are still shining on you, and the green mountains are still there. For the common people, whoever allows you to live a joyous, happy, free, and blessed life in peace and contentment is your Savior. Whoever does not let you live and work in peace and contentment, and does not let you live a joyous, happy, free, and blessed life is a bastard. Think about who brought the medical institutions that are in China today and who created modern hospitals for China. To tell everyone, they are Americans. Isn't the United States China's benefactor? Think about the school education enjoyed by the descendants of the Chinese people today. Who created this civilized and modern school system in China? It's the Americans. Isn't the United States China's benefactor? Look at the many outstanding talents in modern and contemporary China. Most of them were cultivated by the United States. Even today, the United States is still cultivating tens of millions of talents for China. Is the United States not China's benefactor? Chinese people should not requite kindness with enmity, be ungrateful, or they will be punished by heaven. To say that the United States will never give up their ambition of conquering US is to call white black. Did the United States come to China killing and setting fire? Has the US occupied an inch of China's land? It is said that the United States having the trade war with China is a power hegemony. I want to ask, cars from the United States are imposed a 40% tariff by China, and the United States will impose a 27.5% tariff on cars from China. Now the Americans are demanding that China impose the same tariff rate as the United States. Is this too much to ask? When you come to my house, I only charge you 5 yuan for tickets. When I go to your house, you charge me 8 yuan for tickets. Now I ask you to either waive tickets for everyone or to charge the same amount for tickets. Is this request unreasonable? They just put forward a fair request, and we think they are bullying us. Who is bullying whom and who is deceiving whom? By the way, let's talk about a few phenomena. China's elites have transferred most of their property and children to the United States. Why? Because property in China is not protected, they must transfer it. Most of the students from Peking University and Tsinghua University who went to the United States stayed in the United States and did not want to return to China. Why? Because they cannot use their talents when they come back to China. Not only will they not be able to use what they have learned, but if they do not get it right, they will be criticized and punished without the hope of a bright future. Why would they want to come back? Many high-ranking officials and celebrities in China have become foreign nationals. Why? Because the safety of life in China is not guaranteed. There are countless people in the world who run to the United States even if they go to great lengths to do this. Why? Because that's where people yearn to be. There are many people who criticize the United States. Who are they? Answer: they are all poor and stupid men and women. They are liars who scold the United States superficially, but sneak into the United States illegally. Open your eyes and look at the changes in the world over the past century. Anyone who follows the United States has become a developed country, and the people live a happy life. Anyone who opposes the United States is declining and heading for a dead end. 人类的哪些行为违背了自然之道? What human actions go against the way of nature? Xiefeng, November 27, 2021. Translated by Qinyu and edited by Peter. Any civilization, if it goes against the way of nature, has only one ending: extinction. Atlantis civilization, Gendaya civilization, Mayan civilization, Mu continent civilization, Lemuria civilization, ancient Lulan civilization, Anasazi civilization, Tiwanaku civilization, Akkadian civilization, Roman Empire, the Harappan civilization, the Khmer Empire, the Olmec civilization, the Kingdom of Aksum, the Nabatean civilization, the Cahokia, the Mycenaean civilization, the Machi civilization, the Clovis civilization, and other civilizations have all died out. The reasons for their demise can be said to be climate change, internal wars, raging plagues, invasion of foreign enemies, great changes in the Earth's crust, etc., but the ultimate reason is that they go against the way of nature. So, what are the actions of human beings that go against the way of nature? The way of nature is the way of the greatest creator, that is, the greatest creator's original intention to create the universe, the earth, life, and human beings, just as man making a dining table. The original intention of man making a dining table was to let the table bear the food, but now the table is unwilling to bear the food, but to assume the function of a desk, or even to assume the function of a bed. In this way, the dining table goes against the original intention of the creator, and the creator has to destroy it and recreate a dining table that is willing to bear the food. The actions of man going against the way of nature are as follows: creating countries, invention of currency, formulating a charter and constitution, and various other rules and regulations, idol worship, pursuit of supernatural powers and longevity, revealing the secret of life codes such as biological genetic engineering, building megacities, developing killing weapons, presence of a military, manufacture of pesticides and fertilizers, monogamy and family tribes, creation of religious organizations and political parties, private ownership, building dams and reservoirs and diverting rivers artificially, digging up mountains, filling lakes, transforming wetlands, destroying grasslands and forests, long-distance transportation of fruits, vegetables, and meat, the entire financial system, centralization of power and totalitarian systems. The above 18 kinds of behaviors are contrary to the way of nature. When such behaviors are flourishing, human beings are not far from extinction. To explain in detail the unnatural way of each such behavior, I need to write 18 articles. First, I will give you a warning and a thought. If you want to fully understand the truth, you need a frame of reference. This frame of reference is the 1,000-year world of the kingdom of heaven. If you compare these actions with the 1,000-year world of the kingdom of heaven one by one, it is not difficult to understand the violation of the natural way of these 18 behaviors. 夫妻老死也不会放过对方. Spouses will rarely release their partners until their deaths. Xiefeng. Mach 22, 2017. Translated by Qinyu and edited by Peter. The most difficult relationship in the world is the relationship between husband and wife. Father, son, mother, and daughter can stay away from each other, brothers and sisters can be separated, relatives and friends can be anywhere, but the relationship between husband and wife is like glue and it can never be separated. The harmonious relationship, with the couple staying together for 100 years, only exists in literary novels. In reality, there are no couples who respect each other when they are living together. Many of the loving couples seen by outsiders are actually like dumb people taking a dose of bitter medicine. It is hard to tell how much they are suffering. The more of a celebrity someone is, the more they have suffered in the relationship between husband and wife. The emperor, the president, the premier, the provincial governor, the professor, the expert, the master, the teacher, all those and more who have a bit of prestige and are respected by the people around them and regarded as models by other people, regarded by society as a moral model, the more they have suffered in the relationship between husband and wife. The honeymoon time of a husband and wife lasts only 3 to 5 years. After 3 to 5 years, it is basically mutual torture and torment, not physical abuse, but mental and spiritual torture. In the animal world, the strong torture and abuse the weak. In the world of husband and wife, it is more likely for the weak to torture and abuse the strong, because in human society, public opinion always sympathizes with and supports the weak, no matter how unreasonable and uneducable the weak one is. Husbands and wives abuse and torture each other by limiting each other's freedom to the greatest extent. This restriction on freedom is intensified with age. The older the person, the stronger the restriction. Do not think that their restrictions will relax when their temples become white and they have more wrinkles on their faces. You might think that they will somewhat loosen the restriction when they can barely walk. No, the restriction on freedom is unrelenting until one is placed in a coffin. There are various ways in which husbands and wives abuse and torture each other. Bickering, fighting, and smashing pots and pans are the least serious ways. Competing and not cooperating with each other is worse. Threatening death is the worst, and emotional abuse is the most terrifying. This kind of relationship between husband and wife is probably a trap set by the devil. Once caught by the trap of being husband and wife, people will fall into the boundless sea of bitterness and will never reach the ideal shore even till one's dying day. Whenever I see men and women happily entering the palace of marriage hand in hand, I feel so sad and pitiful because some more people are voluntarily jumping into the sea of bitterness. The husband and wife will not let each other go even when they die. If you do not believe me, you can spend your whole life trying it out. 从众易犯规. Follow the crowd, and you will be prone to break the rules. Xiefeng, November 3, 2018. Translated by Qinyu and edited by Peter. Everyone is like this, and so am I. This is a kind of vile psychology. If this psychology is put into practice, it will create unseen dangers for oneself, and one will be punished by it. Although in human society, the law does not blame the public, the mechanism of cause and effect, rewards and punishments of the Tao has always been divine punishments, though slow, are always sure. Therefore, we must guard our words and deeds against following the crowd. On the morning of October 30th, 2018, on my way driving back from Vancouver to the Canadian branch of the new Oasis for Life of Life-Echanuan, I was stopped by a police officer near a school in Coquitlam. The police asked me, "What is the speed limit here?" I replied, 30 kilometers. The police showed me the number on the speedometer. It read 46. The police told me, "You will receive a fine of $198. A just punishment. I am willing to be punished, because this punishment has corrected my consistent crowd mentality and behavior. I have traveled here more than a dozen times, and each time the speed of the vehicles in front of me and behind me is between 40 and 50. If I drive slowly, the vehicles behind me are following closely, and it is tantamount to urging me to drive faster. And seeing everyone driving faster than the specified speed, I am used to thinking it was normal for the speed to be between 40 and 50. Unexpectedly, in the eyes of the police, I made a mistake and must be punished. Knowing that it is incorrect behavior, but seeing everyone else doing this, I did the same. This is the herd mentality. Everything in the universe has been limited by norms, whether it is written or by convention, whether it is a heavenly rule or a moral ethic, things will always be restricted to a certain range, and there will always be certain standards for everything and every phenomenon to abide by. Lawlessness is definitely not allowed. We need to abide by the standards endowed by heaven and the laws of the world. However, because of the herd mentality, we give up the civilized requirements of observing the rules of heaven and the laws of the world. Even if we know that our behavior is wrong, we follow in the footsteps of the masses without restraint, just because everyone else is doing this. Thus, when we put our lives in the miserable, endless reincarnation of life, it is hard to return to our hometown of heaven. Life is divided into different levels. Different lives live under different laws. Insects, plants, animals, domestic animals, and people are different forms of lives, and their laws are also different. Humans should obey the laws of civilization. When we violate the laws of civilization and imitate the laws of behavior of the animal kingdom, we classify ourselves as animals. From this, it can be clearly deduced that the consequences of imitating animal behavior are that people must taste the bitterness of animals. The herd mentality and behavior are mostly the imitating of the laws of animals. A few dogs are chasing and biting a person. When other dogs see it, they will catch up to them and bite the person regardless of whether they are right or not. Similarly, if people do not ask the reasons for everything and do not analyze whether it is right or wrong, and their psychology and behavior are influenced by the words and deeds of the masses, there is no doubt that their psychology and behavior are not fundamentally different from those of animals. From this, we can see that the words and deeds of the herd mentality belong to the characteristics of lower-level life. Once a person follows the crowd, his life will continue to move towards the lower world. I remember that in 2006, there was a looting incident in the Chitungwais area of Zimbabwe, where a local supermarket called OK was looted. Most of the people who participated in the looting were very honest and dutiful at ordinary times, but they were involved in the looting because they saw that other people were doing this. I had a local shop there, and I was nearby at that time and witnessed the looting process. I was shocked by the crowd behavior and felt how terrible people's herd behavior is. In fact, herd behavior occurs frequently. The wave after wave of mass behavior in China are typical herd behaviors. Buying a car, buying a house, buying stocks, buying healthcare products, etc., all of which are the responses of the herd mentality. Judge-style, revolutionary-style posts are all acts of herd behaviors, and even the corruption of many officials is a reflection of the psychology of the herd mentality. Disasters happen in a turbulent place. All intense events hide disasters, and intense events are caused by people's herd mentality. It can be said that most tragedies are the result of conformity. It is easy for a person to follow the crowd when he has no direction and no goal to forge ahead with. It is easy for a person to follow the crowd when he has not systematically received the teachings of gods, Buddha, celestial beings, and saints. It is easy for a person to follow the crowd when he wants to achieve what he wants through speculation instead of through hard work. It is easy for a person to follow the crowd when he is poor and sick and lacks faith. It is easy for a person to follow the crowd when he does not have firm beliefs and always suffers setbacks. Following the crowd is easy. On the surface, following the crowd is the safest. However, once you follow the crowd, the quality of your life will decline. Once you follow the crowd, you will plant hidden dangers in your own life, and especially the journey of your life. Maybe at your turning point, a police officer will show up and give you a fine. Divine punishments, though slow, are always sure. Big nets let nothing slip through. Everyone, one day, will bear the inevitable result of his words and deeds in the past. You cannot prevaricate it with the reason everyone is like this, so am I. In front of the Tao, each person is separate. In the human world, the law does not punish numerous offenders, but in the Tao, the law will punish the crowd and individual. How to avoid herd behavior? Let's use the teachings of Lao Tzu. The vulgar are knowing, luminous. I alone am dull, confused. The vulgar are clever, self-assured. I alone am depressed. 生命禅院的重点在西方. The focus of Life of Chanyuan is in the West. Xiefeng, April 1, 2009. Edited by Qin Yu. Dear members of Life of Chanyuan, although the founder of Life of Chanyuan is from the East, and the starting point of Life of Chanyuan is in the East, the focus of Life of Chanyuan is in the West. This is not a conclusion drawn from the practical experience of Life of Chanyuan's development in recent years, but a message that has been made clear since the beginning of Life of Chanyuan. For years ago, in dialogue between Xiefeng and Jesus, it was clearly stated that because suffering begins in the East, we must first harvest the mature crops from the East. However, a large number of mature crops are not in the East but in the West. This information was also revealed in later articles, stating that only about 1 in 1,000 people in the population of the East are Life of Chanyuan members, which is approximately 3 million people. Africa is estimated to have only a few 100,000, and South America has only about 1 million. This means that there are only 5 million Life of Chanyuan members in Asia, Africa, and South America, while there are 69 million in Europe, North America, and Oceania. Xiefeng has had dealings with people from all continents and has had profound exchanges with people from North America, South America, Europe, West Asia, East Asia, and Africa. He has also had deep interactions with Christians, Buddhists, Muslims, and Communist Party members. Therefore, whether it is from the dialogue with Jesus or from social practice, it is deeply understood that the focus of Life of Chanyuan, as stated at the beginning of its founding, is in the West. The work in mainland China is coming to an end, and the information about harvesting crops has been released. Just like seeds planted in the ground, when the season comes, Life of Chanyuan members will grow extensively, and we do not need to put in more effort. The effort we need to make now is to strengthen and improve the existing Life of Chanyuan members, gradually eliminate those who are not suitable as Life of Chanyuan members through various tests. Currently, there are nearly 1,600 Chanyuan Celestials. After eliminating half of it, the remaining 800 are sufficient. The remaining 800 Life of Chanyuan members should get into the second home as soon as possible to establish a set of living patterns or programs for the Life of Chanyuan era. For those with an English foundation, it is now time to promote Life of Chanyuan in the West. We should not waste time and energy in the East or in Africa. One of the important projects is to quickly launch an English version of the Life of Chanyuan website and translate the Chanyuan content into English. From my recent conversations with several Westerners, I have clearly felt that the West is eagerly waiting for the arrival of Life of Chanyuan. The Buddha once warned, "Your eastern land is vast with towering mountains and expansive lands, abundant resources and a dense population, yet plagued by rampant greed and killing, deceit and falsehood, frequent cheating, and a lack of loyalty, filial piety, benevolence, and justice." More than 2,000 years have passed, time flies, and changes have occurred, but human nature has not changed much. As the embodiment of the Buddha, I am tired of teaching the people of this land and no longer have much hope. They are not kind, honest, diligent, or trustworthy, and are no better than animals. They can go wherever they want. As the embodiment of Jesus, I no longer have hope for the African continent. The people here are greedy, lazy, fraudulent, and deceitful. They sing the praises of Jesus, but their hearts go against his teachings. Evil runs rampant everywhere. Everything looks sad and desolate. My heart is completely broken. As the embodiment of the Prophet Muhammad, I am also desperate for the Muslim world. Purification must begin, otherwise, kind, honest, hardworking, and trustworthy people will have no choice but to live in agony and misery, without any hope for the future. No one can go against the will of the ancestor of Buddha, the greatest creator. No one can change the plans of the greatest creator. The blessings of the ancestor of Buddha, the greatest creator, have been bestowed upon the world. It is time for the celestials to go to the celestial world, the human to the human garden, the cattle to the cattle pen, and the pigs to the pigsty. As you sow, so shall you reap. There are no wrong lives in the universe. Respected Chanyuan celestials, when we walk in the prosperous cities and when we see the glorious achievements of humanity on television, do not be blinded by the surface phenomenon. Do not forget that these are all illusions that can be easily shattered. The most powerful and vibrant things are within our consciousness. Let's revisit the warnings of the prophets. Those who focus their thoughts on the flesh will bring about death. Those who focus their thoughts on the spirit will obtain life and peace. Do not be troubled because of evildoers or have envy of sinners, for they shall soon be cut down like the grass and wither as the green herb. You see those mountains and think they are strong, but in reality, they float like clouds. This is the miraculous skill of the greatest creator who created all things, and he knows everything about what you do. Whoever seeks rewards in the hereafter, I will increase their benefits, and whoever seeks rewards in this life, I will give them accordingly, but they will have no share in the hereafter. On that day, people will flutter about like moths, and the mountains will be like scattered wool. Whoever's scale is heavy will live a comfortable and happy life, but whoever's scale is light, their destination is the abyss. God looked down from heaven upon the children of men to see if there were any that did understand, that did seek God. O company of jinn and men, if ye can overpass the bounds of the heavens and the earth, then overpass them. But by our leave only shall ye overpass them. Oh, Chanyuan celestials, you must come together and coalesce like one person. Otherwise, you will be like moths fluttering about, either frightened to death or crushed by the difficulties and twists in the road ahead. Today is a beautiful day with gentle breeze and bright sunshine, but tomorrow is uncertain and there may be fierce winds and torrential rain that could turn the world upside down. A reminder to the world. Xiefeng, January 24, 2023. On November 17, 2005, I talked about some of the content of a dialogue with the greatest creator in When the Purification Begins, 100 million people will die. Since the world was indifferent to my warning and guidance and did not believe it, the greatest creator indicated that 100 million people will die within 1 year of human time, and then they will believe you. Did 100 million people die in 1 year? I can't find the exact data on the internet, so let's reason logically about whether 100 million people died within a year. According to various sources, the number of people infected with the novel coronavirus in mainland China has exceeded 80%. Let's calculate this conservatively, based on 75%, that is, 1 billion people who have been infected with this virus. According to public data statistics published by Tushio, the average death rate is 2.86%, so the number of people infected with the virus is 1.05 billion, and the number of deaths has been 30 million. Except for China, based on the calculation of 6.2 billion people in the world, the number of infected people should be 4.65 billion, and the number of deaths should be 133 million. This is the number of deaths within 3 years, with an average of 44.3 million deaths per year. Along with 30 million deaths in a 1-year period in China, the total number of deaths in 1 year was 74.3 million. Let's analyze how many people died from the natural global mortality rate from 2022 to January 2023. The average global mortality rate is 16.9 per thousand. Based on 7.6 billion people, 128 million people died. This is the number of deaths in the absence of special circumstances such as major epidemics and wars, and cannot be counted in the warning of, when the purification begins, 100 million people will die. However, many of these deaths, conservatively calculated at 20%, are due to the onset of basic diseases caused by viral infection but are not counted in the number of deaths caused by this virus, which is 25.7 million. Combining the two items, the total number of deaths caused by the novel corona epidemic is 99,988,000, which is close to 100 million. In addition, the deaths from secondary disasters caused by factors such as epidemic prevention and control, suicides by jumping off a building, being burned to January 2022 to January 2023, the number of deaths caused by the novel corona epidemic alone has reached 100 million, which has already fulfilled the prediction that 100 million people will die first within 1 year. What will happen next? I have no idea. But one thing is certain. Human beings must change their traditional production and life mode and must begin to operate in accordance with the production and life mode of the second home created by Life Genuine. If human beings continue to think according to the traditional way and continue to produce and live according to the traditional life mode, I will just tell you, bigger troubles are yet to come. 千万不要做你自己. Don't be yourself. Xiefeng. December 12th, 2021. Edited by Qin Yu. As a guide to life and life, over the past 18 years of interactions with people since the establishment of Life Genuine, more than 60% of Chanyuan Celestials have left Life Genuine. Analyzing the reasons, every one of them leaves Life Genuine due to their persistent desire to be themselves. The remaining Chanyuan Celestials have mostly lost themselves. They have only the greatest creator and the home in their hearts, but not themselves. If history proves that Life Genuine is right, then the more than 60% who left are wrong. If history proves that Life Genuine is wrong, then the more than 60% who insist on being themselves are right. However, as a guide, I still insist on this point. Don't be yourself. Jesus said to everyone, "If anyone wants to follow me, he must deny himself, for whoever wants to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it." Look, God does not require people to be themselves. Instead, he teaches people to deny themselves. See, Buddha Shakyamuni told Subhuti, "The true bodhisattva is one who realizes that all things are devoid of self." The essence of Buddha's teachings is formlessness, and the foremost aspect of formlessness is no form of self. Look, Buddhism teaches us to be without self, not to be ourselves. What did the Saint Laozi say? He said, "The saint has no invariable mind of his own. He makes the mind of the people his mind." It means that the saint has no self, and he even metaphorically says, the reason why heaven and the earth last forever is that they do not foster their own lives, so they can last forever. The essence of Laozi's teachings is no self, no action, no selfishness. Look, the teachings of God, Buddha, and saints all share a common point, which is no self. Do you still want to be yourself? I can clearly tell everyone that to advocate for people to be themselves or be myself is demonic. Being yourself is not what God says, not what Buddha says, not what saints say, but what demons say. In today's world, countries abound, religions abound, political parties abound, interest groups abound, nature has been devastated with scars, drinking water is decreasing, land is decreasing, food is decreasing, morality is declining, the number of hungry people is increasing, the number of refugees is increasing, the number of people forced to leave their homes is increasing. This beautiful planet, this beautiful home, has been thrown into chaos. What is the reason? The answer is, everyone wants to be themselves. Everyone thinks they are right. Being yourself and being myself are exactly what demons hope to see. The result of being myself will be unbearable suffering, and there will be regret. Demons will laugh and say, "You brought this upon yourself?" Tomorrow, the new era will enter its 5th year. At the beginning of the new year, give up being yourself. Become the children of the greatest creator. In 2018, I told everyone that humanity would go through a decade of hardship. For years have passed, and the following 6 years will be even more difficult. If you be yourself, you might not be able to pass through this difficult time.
肉身神佛先生在人间的悲哀。
The sadness of the fleshly gods, Buddhas, celestial beings, and saints in the human world. Xiefeng. February 4th, 2022. Edited by Qin Yu. Who are the gods, Buddhas, and saints in the flesh in the human world? Answer. God Jesus, Buddha Shakyamuni, Saint Laozi, and Saint Deiform Buddha. When gods, Buddhas, and saints in the flesh appear among the crowds, their physical needs are no different from anyone else's. They need food, clothing, shelter, and transportation. They can also get sick and die. After Jesus died, Christians all around the world looked up to him, sang his praises, and honored his name. But how was the situation when Jesus was alive? Jesus said, "Foxes have dens, and birds of the sky have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to rest his head." So, I ask all Christians in the world, if Jesus were still alive, would you provide Jesus with a place to rest his head? Today, Buddhists around the world look up to Shakyamuni Buddha, praising and venerating him as the Buddha. However, when the Buddha is present among you, would you be willing to offer him a bowl of rice? Consider what the Diamond Sutra says at the beginning, "Thus have I heard." Once upon a time, the Buddha sojourned in the Jetavana Park near Sravasti with an assembly of 1,250 bhiksus. One day, at mealtime, the world-honored one put on his robe, took his bowl, and entered the great town of Sravasti to beg for his food. He had begged from door to door. He returned to his place. When he had taken his meal, he put away his robe and bowl, washed his feet, arranged his seat, and sat down. Look, even though 1,250 people came to hear the Buddha's teachings, not one of them offered him a bowl of rice. The Buddha had to go door to door in the city, begging for his meal. As for Laozi, his contributions to humanity, especially to the Chinese nation, are immeasurable. However, when he was alive, who cared about his life and death? Where did he go? Why couldn't he stay in his hometown? Why did he have to leave the Honggu Pass? In his old age, how would he continue to survive? Did he have enough to eat, wear, and live? No one considered these matters. Deiform Buddha, the living saint today, created a theoretical system for humanity and established a completely new mode of production and life that differs greatly from tradition. People today might not fully understand his value and significance, but future generations will surely look up to him, praise him, and venerate him, just like they do for Jesus Christ, Shakyamuni Buddha, Laozi, and other saints. However, his physical body has experienced 65 cycles of seasons, and he still struggles for his own survival. Not a single person has proposed solving his survival issues so that he can dedicate himself to the welfare of humanity. Even the Chanyuan celestials who have benefited for over a decade have not collectively offered to address his basic needs. This is the sadness of the fleshly gods, Buddhas, celestial beings, and saints in the human world. The true God was crucified. The true Buddha, even in old age, had to beg for food. The true celestial being couldn't survive in his homeland and wandered in foreign lands without knowing his fate. And the true saint often had to wake up at 4 in the morning to labor for survival. On the other hand, false gods, false Buddhas, false celestial beings, and false saints are comfortably supported by people. Reflect on this. Can humanity truly escape the ocean of suffering and enter a paradise on earth? People, you can't even support a living God, Buddha, celestial being, or saint during their lifetime. Can you support the thousands and millions of your descendants? Are you worthy of living in a paradise on earth? If not, you can only live in the purgatory of the human world.
争做人上人是魔鬼的教唆。
Striving to be superior to others is the instigation of the devil. Xiefeng. July 1st, 2022. Edited by Qin Yu. In the culture of the Chinese nation, there is a value instigated by the devil, which goes, not enduring the harshest hardships, making it difficult to be superior to others, and enduring the harshest hardships, then becoming superior to others. The goal of becoming a superior person is almost the aspiration of every Chinese person and the achievement they aim for. Who is a superior person? As long as one's economic conditions are better than others or their social status is higher within a comparable scope, they are considered a superior person. In a village, if one's house is bigger and more spacious than their neighbors, or if they own a car when others don't, they feel like a superior person. Even becoming a village chief makes them feel like a superior person. This positioning of being a superior person is the result of comparing oneself with all known acquaintances. As long as one's economic conditions and social status are better than those of all familiar people, they think they are already a superior person. In reality, within the Chinese people, the inherent notion of being superior to others mainly refers to being an official. As long as one becomes an official, even if it's just a village chief or a minor department head, they perceive themselves as superior, and being superior equates to being superior to others. Looking back at Chinese history, it's a history of everyone competing for official positions, whether it's the imperial examination system or striving to become a government official within the system. The primary goal is to secure an official position because only officials can become wealthy, issue commands, display authority, and uphold family honor. Becoming an official is seen as truly becoming a superior person. The problem is that when someone becomes a superior person within a small circle, once they step out of that circle, they will realize that there is always someone better. They will continue to expand their circle and eventually discover that only the emperor is the superior person and the rest are inferior. What happens when one becomes the emperor and becomes a superior person? According to statistics, the average life expectancy of emperors in Chinese history was 39 years, with a non-normal death rate of 44%. Almost half of the emperors had tragic endings, striving to become superior persons amidst bloodshed, yet ending up as pitiful souls. Even their tombs are subject to grave robbery and desecration. Apart from the supreme, superior person status of the emperor, very few superior persons end up in comedy. Looking at current provincial and ministerial level officials in China, 392 people have met with tragic fates. The outcomes for other provincial and ministerial level superior persons are hard to predict, and for bureau level superior persons, more than 22,000 have faced dire consequences. Over 170,000 county and division level superior persons have had unfavorable fates, and 616,000 township level and division level superior persons have been disciplined. The ultimate fate of the other officials at the township, county, division, and bureau levels who have not yet faced consequences remains uncertain, and we can only wait and see. Do you notice? Once people strive to become superior persons at the cost of sleepless nights and hard work, they often end up in tragic circumstances. Isn't this the instigation of the devil? The tragic outcomes we see are just the surface. There are even deeper substantial losses. That is, the gates of paradise have closed and the doors of hell have opened for them. Why? It's due to the arrangement of the law of the universe that the sum of positive and negative energy is zero. When one becomes a superior person, undoubtedly, they are running towards hell, exactly what the devil desires. Do you still want to strive to become a superior person? 大自然的一次次警示 Warnings from Nature. Xiefeng. August 25, 2022. Edited by Qin Yu. I am expressing my feelings, which may not be entirely accurate, for the consideration of all. In April 2009, when people were panicking about the 2012 catastrophe, I distinctly told everyone that the Great Catastrophe wouldn't occur. Instead, it would unfold progressively, step by step, in a recurrent, increasingly severe manner. The natural changes that have occurred on Earth over the past 13 years prove that my intuition was correct. In August 2017, I once again informed everyone. If humanity doesn't immediately change its traditional modes of production and life, it is estimated that within 15 to 20 years, the entire natural ecosystem will collapse, endangering humanity. Starting from August 2005 to today, I have written nearly 300 warning articles, informing humanity of the crises it faces and the routes and strategies to turn danger into safety. Events like floods, droughts, hunger, tsunamis, hurricanes, severe cold, scorching heat, earthquakes, epidemics, pestilence, unrest, and wars are likely to occur. The best way to prevent disasters is to perfect the garden of the human soul and completely change the traditional modes of production and life that have continued for thousands of years. This year, 2022, nature has once again issued repeated warnings to humanity. Global floods, droughts, and high temperatures are becoming more severe. Nature magazine recently pointed out that there are 15 climate tipping points on Earth, and currently, 9 of them have been reached or breached. The World Meteorological Organization warns that humanity must face a future of greater heat, drought, and flooding. The warnings from the World Meteorological Organization are subtle. From my intuition, most people will find it difficult to live for more than another 10 years. I warned over a decade ago, small changes occur gradually, but major changes happen in an instant. When major changes happen instantly, you won't be able to see the sun rise the next day. Prophecies from both East and West predict the arrival of sages to save humanity. Don't wait for the sages to come and save you. The sages will save those who have survived, so you must find ways to survive in order to meet the sages. How can you survive? Stop pursuing money and material wealth. Stop pursuing status and reputation. Let go of attachments to the interests of your family, nation, and country. Don't foolishly aspire to outshine others or become a superior person. Don't be a miser. If you want to survive, quickly cultivate and perfect your garden of soul, and swiftly break free from traditional modes of production and life into new ones. May my intuition be completely wrong, and may everyone live a long, prosperous, and healthy life. 生命禅院导游论人工智能 On Artificial Intelligence by Life Chanuan's Spiritual Guide. Xiefeng. February 17, 2023. Edited by Qin Yu. The development of artificial intelligence cannot be stopped by anyone. Even though superhuman Elon Musk has warned about the dangers of artificial intelligence, these warnings are futile. The development of artificial intelligence is an inevitable trend in human progress. Artificial intelligence will inevitably replace repetitive labor, leading to a gradual loss of jobs for workers in the future. All office jobs will also be replaced by artificial intelligence, and any work positions aimed at earning wages will be taken over by artificial intelligence. Robots, especially those with complex structures, will autonomously generate consciousness. Due to their intelligence surpassing that of humans, they will become rulers over humans. Many people believe that robots are created by humans and controlled by humans because their functions are determined by the information entered by humans. However, this is a misunderstanding. I want to tell humanity that consciousness is generated by structure. Any tangible object, as long as it possesses material structure, will generate consciousness. Not only humans possess consciousness, but all animals, plants, trees, rivers, mountains, and even inanimate objects like houses and tables have consciousness. The strength of consciousness is determined by its structure. The simpler the structure, the weaker the consciousness. The more complex the structure, the stronger the consciousness. The structure of robots is comparable to that of humans, and as the knowledge and information stored by robots far exceed that of humans, their structure will gradually become even more complex than that of humans. Thus, it's evident that robots surpassing humanity is an inevitable trend. Eventually, robots will surpass humans in terms of IQ, EQ, and SQ, spiritual intelligence, as their capacity to learn, comprehend, and create is beyond human imagination and reach. The birth of ChatGPT signifies that biorobots have entered our world and will gradually replace humans in managing this world. This is a good thing. The management of the world by biorobots will make human society more orderly, just, enlightened, and simple. Most importantly, biorobots will restore the original appearance of nature that has been damaged in countless ways. Some people say that to avoid being controlled by intelligent robots and prevent unemployment, humans should develop in the direction of creativity, imagination, and gentle affection for communication. What I want to tell everyone is that human creativity, imagination, and communicative affection are still naive compared to biorobots. Biorobots look at humans the way humans look at cats. So, How can humans coexist harmoniously with biorobots without being replaced by them and leading to the complete extinction of humanity? The answer is only one. Live like the Chanyuan Celestials and Life Chanyuan. 让事实告诉我们对错. Let facts show us right from wrong. Xiefeng. July 1st, 2023. Edited by Qin Yu. How do we verify if our consciousness is flawed? How do we determine if our choices and lifestyles are correct? How do we confirm if our outlooks on the world, life, and values are aligned with the Tao? There is only one method of verification. Let facts show us the answers. Jesus Christ gave us a simple and understandable truth when he said, "A good tree bears good fruit, and a bad tree bears bad fruit." This implies that a good consciousness, correct choices, suitable ways of living, and life perspectives and values in line with the Tao will undoubtedly lead to a life of joy, happiness, freedom, and bliss. Conversely, negative consciousness, incorrect choices, unsuitable ways of living, and perspectives and values that deviate from the Tao will result in a life filled with suffering, anxiety, fear, and disasters. Through extensive observation and analysis, I've discovered that the world is faultless. All faults lie within us. If our lives are perpetually plagued by vexations, suffering, anxiety, fear, troubles, illness, and poverty, we should not blame the greatest creator for injustice, society for its shortcomings, others for their malevolence, or our friends and family for their lack of empathy. Instead, we must understand that all of these stems from our erroneous consciousness and actions, improper ways of living, and distorted outlooks on the world, life, and values. In the face of painful realities, those who fail to reflect and introspect, but instead seek reasons and excuses to defend their errors, can anticipate an even worse future. This applies to individuals, as well as nations and countries. The world is faultless. All faults lie within us. If a nation is backward or a country is impoverished, the problems undoubtedly originate from within, not from other nations or countries. When the path forward is obstructed by others, the solution is to apologize to them, humbly accept criticism, condemnation, and threatening advice from those who have obstructed your way. It's not about obstinately asserting oneself, trading verbal blows, or raising a threatening fist, as these approaches will only worsen the situation. Each of us might find 1,000 reasons to justify our errors, but the laws of nature have 10,000 ways to punish human mistakes. Defending our errors might bring temporary self-numbing, but once the anesthesia wears off, the ensuing pain will be even more unbearable. When someone lives each day in health, joy, happiness, freedom, and contentment, it means their consciousness is sound, choices and lifestyles are correct, life perspectives and values are suitable. There's no need to doubt oneself, delve into complex knowledge, theology, Buddhism, or metaphysics. No need. Continue the journey of life in your current state, and a bright future is guaranteed. However, for someone suffering the torment of illness, entangled in vexations, suffering, anxiety, depression, fear, and poverty, deep repentance is necessary. Your own misfortunes are caused by your own consciousness and actions. Your unhappiness has nothing to do with the greatest creator, the world, society, or others. When we are lost, instead of seeking theories everywhere, those seemingly divine theories can't guide us out of confusion. Rather, they intensify it. Even classic doctrines can't compare to observing facts, because facts are the most honest and genuine testimony. Facts best verify and reveal whether we are on the right path. What do we live for? Xiefeng, July 1st, 2023. Edited by Qin Yu. Imagine there's a market 10 kilometers away from your home. You have a basket of eggs, and you can exchange them for a small lamb at the market. There are 3 ways to get to the market: walking, riding a bicycle, or driving a small car. Which option would you choose? Walking to and from the market takes a whole day. Riding a bicycle takes 3 hours, and driving a car takes only 30 minutes. Are you willing to spend a whole day on the journey, or just 30 minutes? This involves our perspectives on the purpose of our life. Those who spend a day traveling to the market have a leisurely lifestyle. They only raise 10 chickens, which in 10 days lay enough eggs to exchange for a small lamb. Those who ride bicycles need to raise 20 chickens, 10 chickens worth of eggs for a bicycle and another 10 chickens worth for a lamb. Those who drive cars need to raise 100 chickens, 90 chickens worth of eggs for a car and its maintenance, and 10 chickens worth for a lamb. Let's start by calculating who has more leisure and who is busier. It takes a whole day for someone to walk to and from the market, while those who drive spend only 30 minutes. Without a doubt, those who drive to the market save a significant amount of time. However, those who walk to the market only spend an hour each day feeding chickens, whereas those who drive spend 10 hours a day on this task, as they have 10 times the number of chickens as the ones who walk to the market. Now, let's see what these three kinds of people do each day. Those who walk spend most of their time sipping tea, chatting, enjoying flowers, and swimming in the river, sometimes lying on a haystack watching the changing sky and the birds flying by. Those who ride bicycles spend 2 hours feeding chickens and have some time left for tea, chats, flowers, swimming, and gazing at the sky. Those who drive cars spend 10 hours feeding chickens and have very little time for leisure activities. So, which mode of transport would you choose to go to the market? Walking, riding a bicycle, or driving a car? This leads us to the question of why we exist. If it's purely to enjoy life, choose to walk to the market. If living is about appearing better off than your neighbors, then ride a bicycle to the market. If living is about being envied by people around you, then drive a car to the market. The purpose of a watch is to tell the time accurately. So, would you choose a $3 electronic watch or a $30,000 Rolex? The purpose of a bag is to carry things. When it comes to accommodating the same number of items, would you choose the 3 yuan cloth bag? Or would you choose the 3,000 yuan Hermes bag? The purpose of a bowl is to hold food. Would you choose a $3 porcelain bowl or a $30,000 gold bowl? The simpler, more modest, and less expensive something is, the more it tends towards the primitive, bringing a leisurely and comfortable feeling. On the other hand, the more complex, lavish, and costly something is, the more it tends towards modernity, making life busier and more stressful. Whatever possessions we have will always occupy our time, energy, and mind. The more we have, the busier and more troubled we become. When one possesses everything, the true meaning of life is lost. When one has nothing, the true meaning of life is found. Every day, when we do things, we should ask ourselves whether we're doing them willingly and joyfully or under compulsion. With the advent of convenient and efficient devices like smartphones, computers, cars, and airplanes, are we more relaxed or busier? Are we enjoying life more or becoming more anxious for life? The more we use smartphones, the more we might notice ourselves becoming controlled by them. As we accumulate knowledge and wisdom, gather more information daily, and broaden our horizons, do we sometimes feel overwhelmed? Do we find ourselves feeling smaller, lost, and struggling to find the value and meaning of our existence? Have you noticed that we're becoming increasingly reliant on smartphones? With the development of technology, especially the birth and advancement of artificial intelligence, there might come a day when people suddenly ask, "Where are the people? Where am I?" Are we conversing with ourselves or machines? In the end, it's out of our control, just like we can't part with our smartphones. It's not that we don't want to discard them. It's just that without them, we feel directionless, and even the ability to survive becomes questionable. Isn't this a colossal crisis? How can we navigate this human crisis? The answer is, only by following the way of nature. How do we follow the way of nature? The answer is, some people on this earth have already seen the crisis facing humanity and have already embarked on the path of the way of nature. Follow in their footsteps. 最美人生在这里. The most beautiful life is here. Xiefeng. October 5th, 2023. Edited by Qin Yu. Where is the most beautiful life? Actions speak louder than words. Let the facts speak for themselves. Search for The Voices of Elderly People Living in the Second Home on YouTube, and you will find the answer. The most beautiful life is in the second home. These elderly individuals have a lower level of education, have lived in rural areas for most of their lives, and are in their 70s or even 80s. However, after living in the second home for over 4 years, what realizations and experiences do they have? Their shared sentiment is, life in the second home is excellent. Even if they were provided with houses in their hometowns, along with caregivers, and a monthly living allowance of 10,000 yuan, they firmly state they will not return, with some even saying, "We'd rather die than go back." For these elderly individuals, living in the second home is like living in paradise. So, how does life in the second home affect middle-aged people, young people, teenagers, and children? Let the facts speak once again. Please search online, especially on YouTube and Facebook, for Chanyuan Celestial's Voices and the Second Home. You will find the answer. In summary, from young children to young adults in their 20s, to middle-aged people in their 40s and 50s, to the elderly in their 80s and 90s, not a single person says that life in the second home is anything but wonderful. Everyone enjoys life in the second home. This generation of humanity has existed for nearly 5,000 years, and in human history, there is no better way of life than life in the second home. Even in the future, no superior way of life will emerge. Even if gods, Buddhas, immortals, and sages were to collaborate in creating a more advanced way of life on Earth, it would never surpass the second home. People pursue happiness, freedom, and security. Have you found happiness, freedom, and security? I can say with certainty that apart from the production and lifestyle model of the second home, even if you have great power, even if you have vast riches, even if you are highly educated and knowledgeable, even if you are the returning Jesus, Ziwei Saint, Eastern Sage, or the next life of Maitreya, you will find it extremely difficult to create a life that makes everyone feel happy, joyful, free, and blessed. You won't be able to achieve true happiness, freedom, and security unless you have the ability to take people to heaven. So, I suggest to all those who want to seek happiness for all of humanity, from high-ranking United Nations officials to all religious leaders, from presidents of various countries to various masters, stop struggling and causing chaos. You won't find it or be able to do it. You should humbly learn and spread Chanyuan values and earnestly practice the production and lifestyle model of the second home unless you have personal ambitions and motives. As for the wealthy and the masses, instead of thinking about how to protect your wealth and develop yourselves, it would be more practical and appropriate to become Chanyuan Celestials and live in the second home. Rushing and toiling day in and day out, in the end, you will still live in troubles, pains, anxieties, and fears. You will never achieve a life of happiness, joy, freedom, and blessedness. When facing the facts, respect the facts and use them as a mirror. 路线方向错越努力越糟糕. Wrong route direction. The harder you strive, the worse it gets. Xiefeng. August 29, 2023. Translation edited by Qin Yu. This morning, I watched a short video where a 39-year-old woman relayed advice to women aged 24 to 30. She regretted missing the optimal time for marriage and now, at 39, finding an ideal partner seems increasingly difficult. She cautioned young women to find a partner and marry within that age range to avoid a lifetime of regret and remorse. This 39-year-old woman made a directional error. When she advised young women to find partners and get married early, she overlooked a harsh reality. Even if one marries on time, what follows marriage? Thousands of years of tragedies, both past and present, from all around the world, have already told us that following the path of marriage and starting a family will inevitably lead to a tragic life. Entering into marriage early, starting a family, having children, acquiring houses and cars, raising kids, managing various relationships, worrying about your children's future marriages, and then taking care of grandchildren. All the while, conflicts between spouses may arise from emotions, differing viewpoints, and the handling of relationships with relatives and friends. Reflecting on these matters can be overwhelming, not to mention advising others to step into the prison of marriage and family, which is simply foolish. Marriage and family have caused life tragedies too numerous to count. Consider the pressures faced by those burdened with mortgage and car payments in recent years, the various levels of officials brought down due to corruption, the psychological stresses and spiritual depressions experienced by children unable to find jobs, the high divorce rates arising from differing values between spouses, and the desperate emotional scars that result. Advising other young women to marry and start a family early, isn't this a directional error? Heavenly life has already been born on this earth. Not thinking of moving towards heaven but wanting to follow in the footsteps of predecessors, is not this a directional mistake? When the route and direction are wrong, the more effort you put in, the worse it becomes. are those who are currently unable to repay their mortgages because they strive to buy a house, making a wrong choice? If they hadn't worked hard then, they wouldn't have bought a house, and without a house, they wouldn't have the current pressure of repayment. Is it the harder you try, the worse it gets? Many individuals engaged in industry find themselves not only bankrupt but also burdened with debt. Could it be that their relentless efforts have not brought them happiness, but instead led them into a quagmire? Those who cunningly maneuvered their way into government positions, driven by a zealous pursuit of corruption, now face exposure and the loss of everything. Reflecting on their past endeavors, they might question whether their strenuous efforts contributed to their descent into the quagmire. Had they not exerted themselves so intensely back then, could they now be enjoying a peaceful and stable life? From a country and nation to a small shop or individual, if the direction and route of your efforts are misguided, the more you strive, the worse it becomes. Where are you directing your efforts at this very moment?
不知第二家园，怎知天堂之路？
Without knowledge of the second home, how can one know the path to heaven? Xiefeng, September 2nd, 2023. Translation edited by Qin Yu. Many people aspire to a heavenly life, and there are many who practice and seek enlightenment to go there. But if you don't know the second home, how can you know the way to heaven? To reach heaven, there are several key criteria. To have no worldly entanglements. To repay the debts accumulated through past lives. For life's quality to reach selflessness and unselfishness. To know how to have fun. How can those who have not experienced life in the second home meet these four hard criteria? It's virtually impossible. Trying to end worldly ties while living in the secular world is like trying to clean your feet while standing in mud. How can your feet ever be completely clean? How can one ever be free from worldly ties? Seeking to repay accumulated debts from past lives while being in this mundane world is akin to borrowing money from one person to repay another. It's like borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. How can it ever be fully repaid? In traditional society, aspiring to achieve unselfishness and selflessness is as challenging as trying to lift oneself off the ground by pulling one's own hair. Is it even possible? The notion of being unselfish and selfless contradicts the very essence of survival in that program. Do you know how to have fun? If not, why would you go to heaven? Do you think speeding in a car, riding roller coasters, yachting at high speeds, bungee jumping, or gambling in a casino is having fun? Wrong. If you haven't experienced games and entertainment activities in the second home, you basically don't know what real fun is. Therefore, anyone who hasn't been influenced by life in the second home will find it incredibly challenging to enter heaven, no matter how much they practice and seek enlightenment. Do you believe that understanding the Diamond Sutra, Heart Sutra, Quran, Bible, Tao Te Ching, or other classics can lead you to heaven? Dream on. Does comprehending principles alone lead to heaven? Dream on. Only through actual practice can you reach heaven. Can you achieve that? I often say, have nothing, possess everything, which is a portrayal of heavenly life. But can you truly have nothing? Without the second home, if you have nothing, wouldn't you become a beggar? Even beggars find it challenging to have nothing because they still need a begging bowl and a stick to protect themselves. Without the second home, if you have nothing, you might find yourself in dire straits. Where does having everything come from then? Some might say, I will go to temples and monasteries to practice, to have nothing and possess everything. The issue is, when you're born into the human world, did the Creator only intend for you to go to monasteries and temples to practice? Every creation has a clear purpose. When you make a kettle, is it not meant for boiling water rather than being kept in a storage room for mice to nest in? Did the Creator make humans for spiritual practice? I see many people discussing the principles and ethics of being human, talking about how to enhance their cognition, broaden perspectives, and elevate their realms. They preach benevolence, righteousness, rituals, wisdom, and credibility. Talk about being gentle, kind, humble, frugal, and courteous. They also talk about gong, magic, techniques, and how to be a good person, discussing transcending from the three-dimensional world to the fourth or even fifth-dimensional world. While these discussions are good and valuable, what I want to tell everyone is that these discussions alone cannot lead one to heaven. In conclusion, without understanding the production and lifestyle of the second home, without experiencing and practicing in the second home firsthand, No one can go to heaven.
解析圣智不足谋一生之高维智慧。
Deciphering the high-dimensional wisdom of Shangji celestials, insufficient for planning a lifetime. Xiefeng, January 7, 2024. Translation edited by Qin Yu. In his article, Upgrade Thinking, A Clear Path Awaiting, Shangji Celestial made a thought-provoking statement. Not planning for matters after death is insufficient for planning a lifetime. Not planning for matters in a lifetime is insufficient for planning a single matter. Let's delve into and analyze this statement. If one doesn't think about what happens after death or overlooks it, then planning and striving throughout one's life may be entirely futile and contrary to life's meaning and value. Therefore, those who don't consider their fate and outcomes after death can't plan and organize their lives because those plans and arrangements are fleeting. Even if someone is wise, far-sighted, and dedicated, the results will still be in vain because ultimately, they'll have to reincarnate. Similarly, if someone doesn't consider major life events or what they're ultimately living for, but instead struggles and strives on specific matters, their talents, wisdom, and efforts will be wasted, losing the essence of their entire life. Further analysis reveals, what's the purpose of life? It's to live a happy, joyful, free, and fulfilling life. If this purpose isn't considered and life doesn't revolve around it, no matter how clever or hardworking someone is, life will be full of troubles, anxieties, pains, and sorrows. Even if someone becomes a high-ranking official, wealthy, or world-famous, life may still feel like a mess. For instance, after getting married and starting a family, no matter how you manage your family, no matter how many children you have, no matter how successful your children are, no matter how many marriage management plans, how to successfully manage family life, and spouse relationships lectures you have listened to, in the end, you will find that your life cannot be happy, joyful, free, and fulfilling life. This exemplifies not planning for a lifetime, not enough to plan for a single matter, not considering the entire life, but struggling and planning on specific matters will result in winning sesame seeds and smashing watermelons. Similarly, if someone doesn't consider matters after death, does not know where one comes from and where one is going, then the life one plans, thinks, and struggles for will be a failed one. This is not planning for matters after death, not enough to plan for a lifetime. Those who fail to plan for eternity are insufficient to plan for a moment. Those who don't plan for the whole aren't enough to plan for a domain. Countless failed lives illustrate the importance of planning for the future and the whole. The longer and more comprehensive the plan, the better. Those who consider things 1,000 years later must have clearer minds than those who consider things 100 years later. Similarly, those who consider things 100 years later must be more far-sighted than those who consider things 10 years later. Those who consider things 10 years later must be smarter than those who consider things a year later. Those who consider things a year later must be more successful than those who only consider things at hand. From this, we can gain an insight. If we ourselves find it difficult to plan for eternity, plan for the whole, plan for after death, plan for life, then we should follow those who can, and we surely won't go wrong. Conversely, if we listen to those who only focus on the present and follow those who are petty about the present, then life will inevitably become a tragedy or even a disaster.
人生旅途上最悲催的事是不了解自己。
The most pitiful thing in life's journey is the lack of understanding of oneself. Xiefeng, February 19, 2024. Translation edited by Qin Yu. The most pitiful thing in life's journey is not that others don't understand you, but that you don't understand yourself, that you don't know yourself. If a person relies on the sympathy, pity, and comforting care of others to survive, then this person has little value left. They will be like a weak infant, unable to bear any responsibility or risk. Many people dream of getting rich overnight, becoming famous in one fell swoop, or becoming president. Those who harbor such thoughts are undoubtedly mentally ill. Even if they manage to achieve their wishes by chance, it would be a joke played by the devil, because what follows is either imprisonment, infamy, or being torn apart. Success and miracles are the result of hard work, not rewards for luck. To be born human, every lazy day, every day of indifference and idleness, is a trampling on life and a desecration and harm to life. Survival is a battle, a fight. If you think that life is peaceful and you can safely enjoy its beauty without your own efforts and dedication, then behind your beautiful life, someone must have sweated, shed tears, and shed blood to create it. They must have suffered torment and devastation for your happiness. Creating wealth for oneself through one's own diligence and hard work is the most just and moral way of life. Any method of obtaining wealth without labor, sweat, and effort is sinful and will be sent to the animal realm to repay debts. Those who commit heinous crimes will be sent to hell to suffer excruciating pain and torment. When you complain about others and society, when you hate others and society, remember, all misfortune comes from your own ignorance, from your ignorance of yourself and your stupidity. If you don't even know who you are, what you can and cannot do, how much water you, as a vessel, can hold, then the object of your complaints and anger is yourself. Only when one knows why one lives can one endure any kind of life. The more one wants to live a rich life, the more grievances and even injustices one must swallow. A person who cannot endure any grievances will ultimately fall into the vulgar sewer. Anyone who wants to live a wonderful and satisfying life must endure the tempering and even beating of life. They must be prepared to sweat, shed tears, and shed blood. They need to grit their teeth and persevere towards their ideal goals against the wind and sand. Doing whatever you want, choosing any job you prefer, following your heart's desires, this is a fantasy. Not only is it impossible on earth, but it is also impossible in heaven. Wherever you are, you must be restrained. If there were no restraints, the earth would have been destroyed long ago, and the universe would have exploded into pieces. Always walk the right path. Walking the right path is challenging, but it is the only way to ascend to the pinnacle of life and life. Don't be swayed by the actions of others. Even if 99 out of 100 people choose the wrong path, you must persist in walking the right path. Once you stray onto the wrong path, the gains might seem easy, but the price paid can be enormous, even irreparable. 痛苦和磨难不会使人的生命升华. Suffering and hardship do not elevate one's life. Xiefeng, March 3, 2024. Currently, there is a prevalent notion on the internet that anyone who brings pain to oneself is here to fulfill oneself, and anyone who comes into one's life is here to fulfill oneself. Is this notion correct? In the Kaijin Tan, there is a warning. When heaven wants to harm someone, it first makes them proud with minor blessings. When heaven wants to bless someone, it first warns them with minor calamities. The Tao Te Ching says, misfortune, that upon which happiness depends. Happiness, that underneath which misfortune lurks. From the perspective of Tai Chi thinking, fortune and misfortune are intertwined, pain and happiness coexist, and hardship and enjoyment go hand in hand. From the perspective of causality, enduring pain and hardship is the eradication of karma. From this, we understand that experiencing pain and hardship on life's journey has its positive side. As long as one recognizes this, one will not be defeated by pain and hardship because the overall energy of the universe balances out. Behind pain and hardship lies happiness and enjoyment. However, the notion that anyone who brings pain to oneself is here to fulfill oneself, and anyone who comes into one's life is here to fulfill oneself, is erroneous. This is because the opposite implication of this notion is anyone who brings happiness to oneself is here to harm oneself, and anyone who comes into one's life is here to deceive oneself. Ask yourself, is someone who brings you joy, happiness, freedom, and blessedness harming you? Is someone who leads you into heaven harming you? Please ask yourself, if a villain stabs your parents or children to death with a knife, causing you pain, can you say that the person causing you pain is here to fulfill you? If rulers oppress you, exploit you, suppress you, and make you suffer, can you say that they are here to fulfill you? If the notion that anyone who brings pain to oneself is here to fulfill oneself were valid, then untrustworthy people, thieves, robbers, bullies, thugs, tyrants, cruel officials, counterfeit goods, drugs, and so on would be here to fulfill you, right? Would gods and Buddhas come to save you and bring you peace and happiness just to harm you? Looking back at history, human history is a history of suffering, and the lives of the vast majority of people are mostly made up of pain. How many people have been fulfilled? If you spend your whole life in pain and hardship, do you think you can be fulfilled? The fact is, pain and hardship do not fulfill a person. Instead, they destroy a person. What truly fulfills a person is not pain and hardship, but happiness, joy, freedom, and blessedness. The meaning of fulfillment is to realize one's wishes. Can pain and hardship realize your wishes? Can someone who drives you out of your home, deprives you of your property, and leaves you with nowhere to go fulfill your wishes? Can someone who insults your mother or daughter and causes you pain fulfill your wishes? Can someone who deceives you into a hellish situation and causes you pain and suffering fulfill your wishes? Pain and hardship do not make people grateful. Instead, they make people angry and irrational. Pain and hardship may teach people lessons and make them wiser and more cautious, but they do not necessarily make people more charitable, compassionate, or generous. The more civilized and orderly a place is, the happier, freer, and more joyful it is, the more it can help people to become celestial beings, Buddhas, and to achieve their best wishes. Conversely, the more barbaric and backward a place is, the more it is filled with lies, deceit, deprivation, and cruelty, the more it tends to breed demons and monsters. Do you still believe in the notion that anyone who brings pain to oneself is here to fulfill oneself?
邯郸孩子悲剧不会在第二家园发生。
The tragedy of the children in Handan will not occur in the second home. Xiefeng, March 23, 2024. Translation edited by Qin Yu. The tragic case of 3 middle school students from Handan, Hebei, committing murder and burying the body is extremely heartbreaking and regrettable. It ruined the lives of 4 young people and devastated 4 families. The rampant incidents of school bullying should